Our sinister tale starts with a vast amount of, well, grass. Getting into the real meat of the story, we see a car filled with people driving through vast plains of the countryside. A man eating some greaseball burger seen driving a pregnant woman. She suddenly says she's nauseous, so the guy pulls over, and then she's blowing chunks. You okay? And the man reassures her. She seems to be fine afterwards. And then she says maybe they should go back. But the man named Cal DeMuth says they're already halfway to San Diego. Becky DeMuth, the pregger, is worried what their parents might think since they're siblings. Cal tells her that only what she decides matters. Then Becky hears something. It sounds like it's coming from tall grass. It's a boy screaming for help over and over. Sounds like he's really in trouble. Reluctant at first, Cal agrees they should haul this lost idiot out there. So he parks the car at a nearby church. Becky shouts back to the kid to calm down. Then he shouts back that they've been stuck there for days. There's another voice with him. The voice of a woman, and she calls the boy Tobin and tells him to stop calling for help. It sounds like he's near. So they try to lure him with the sound of their voices near the road. But the kid remarks he can't see anything. Oh well, Captain Cal to the rescue. Cal, wait! Becky's somewhat worried about stepping into the grass, but eventually does so anyways. She catches up to Cal while calling 911, and then she tells the operator that there's a kid lost in the grass. But the signal soon breaks. Cal also suddenly disappears in front of her, so Becky tries to look for him. Little did she know that Cal is actually next to her, only a few feet away. Cal? Cal has lost his direction and shouts for the kid multiple times, but no reply. Then he tries to look for Becky, and she replies that she tried to call 911, but the signal broke, and now she's asking for his phone. Well, Cal left his phone and glasses in the car, so he's also visually impaired. Soon, the kid voices out again for Cal to keep coming, but now he's getting annoyed that this kid is like moving further and further away. Cal tells him to just stay still, and he'll come to him. Then he calls out to Becky. Well, she's fine, but she's feeling something off about this tall grass. So she tells Cal that they should head back to the road first and try to figure out what to do. They keep tabs with each other by talking to each other constantly. Becky tells him to jump with their hands in the air so they could see each other. So they do it. Forget it, let's just do this. And Cal is close. Becky hears Cal, but he sounds like he's now getting further away. But Cal swears he's standing still. They both do that jump again and, oh boy, Cal's looking like he's a mile away. Cal panics, running through the field like a madman. He trips on some mud, and then he finds something really gross. An abyssal dog rotting with lots of flies. Becky's asking if he's alright, and he says he's A-okay. Totally not seeing a rotting dog. This is about us now. Becky tells him to just forget about that kid, because they have to keep their heads together and getting out. Hours pass, and it seems that Becky's getting tired, so she sits down. It sounds like Cal's getting closer, and Becky greets him, but it's not Cal. Meet Ross Humboldt. He claims to be Tobin's father, and he's in the tall grass looking for his wife and child. He tells Becky they should stick together since it's gonna be dark soon, but she feels a bit of stranger danger. He tells her to follow him, stay close, and don't lose sight of him.
Nothing is around here.
Well, darkness falls, and Cal is left lost, tired, and alone, with no one responding. But Tobin Humboldt pops out of nowhere to tell him that it's easier to find things if they're not alive. But it's easier once they're dead. Tobin says the field doesn't move things that aren't alive. Cal tries to ask him if he lured him in, but Tobin says that he was also lured in by a man calling for help. God knows how long he's been here. Tobin says Becky'll die soon, and he thinks the tall grass knows all. Tobin offers to take him to his sister, so he has no choice but to follow.
She's gonna die soon.
Becky and Ross talk about pregnancy. Then Ross talks to her kindly on how Becky's baby daddy isn't in the picture, and he's filled with determination to find him.
The sooner we get to them, the better.
That's until Becky trips on some medicine. Then Ross is totally gone. She calls out for the two of them. Then jump scare alert. Cal, on the other hand, is struggling to keep up with Tobin.
Tobin, wait up!
But he says just a little further. Well, they get to that place. And that's not Becky. That is some weird alien acorn. Tobin touches it, says that it feels good, and then encourages Cal to try it. Cal approaches it slowly.
Boy, that feels good.
And there's some weird markings on it. He was about to touch it and then heard Becky's screams of despair. Tobin warns him that he's going the wrong way, but Cal rushes for his sister while screaming out her name multiple times. Outside the tall grass, this man's driving by the countryside in his truck and then makes a stop at the gas station. He talks to the owner and says he's trying to find these two. It's Cal and Becky. He drives off with no luck, then passes by the church from earlier. Suddenly, he spots Cal and Becky's car, so he stops to investigate. Nothing inside here but a rotting burger. And I have a feeling all these cars here are just idiots that went into that tall grass. Travis McKean, the trucker man, goes inside the abandoned church slowly, as if that wasn't a red flag already. He slowly walks up to the door only for it to be locked, so he exits the spooky church and burns his lungs for a little.
Becky!
Out on the road, he spots Becky's book near the tall grass, so he dives into the grave of morons. This one's a bit smarter though, cause he leaves a trail of folded grass to know where he came from. But sadly, it's not gonna be enough, cause that tall grass unravels itself. After walking for some time, he noticed the sun's direction suddenly changed. Becky! Darkness falls, and he uses his bag as a pillow and tries to get some rest as he's looking at Becky's photo. Suddenly, he hears a bit of movement, and then Toby surprises him. He's asking him to shut up because he hears the voices of people who are stuck in the tall grass. He says they're connected, and Toby even knows his name, and that he's looking for Becky. Tobin's weirded out that Travis doesn't remember. You really don't remember? But he suspects he knows where Becky is. He begs him to tell her where she is, even if he looks reluctant against it, but he insists. Tobin accepts, on the condition that he's gotta stay close. But you gotta stay close. The two run through the tall grass, and you hear the sound of wolves howling from the distance. Soon, Tobin finds the spot, and there she is, in all her non-living glory. Tobin remarks that the field doesn't move things that aren't alive, while Travis weeps. Then Tobin disappears.
Help!
The next morning, Travis wakes up next to the rotting body of Becky. Then he takes her necklace. Soon he moves and hears people from outside the tall grass. He hears Tobin's voice and calls him out for help. So Tobin gets freaked and tells us Mommy. Natalie Humboldt, looks like Freddy, the dog from earlier, goes into that tall grass. So Tobin goes after him, and in turn, so do his parents. Ross says to leave Freddy, but he still goes after him. Too late, as everyone's getting lost, including Travis. Natalie, wait! Time passes, and it's night once again. Ross is left alone, still trying to find his wife and child. He tries to keep it together, but soon begins to blame the whole fiasco on Natalie and Tobin. Soon he finds that funky alien acorn from earlier and slowly approaches it. Daylight approaches, and Tobin's heard screaming for help. Looks like some time and physics are warped inside this thing. As we're taken once more to the scene of Cal and Becky hearing Tobin from inside the tall grass. Cal parks the car, and Becky enters that grass once again. Where are you? Let's go back to Travis, looking hopelessly lost, tired, and dizzy. He hears Cal and Becky's voices exchanging rhymes, so he calls out to him.
Becky?
And the siblings are both surprised that he's here. They ask him why he's here, and he says that he's here to look for them. Travis hears Tobin's plea once again, but this time, he says Freddy has bit the dust. Cal's asking who is Freddy.
Are you with Freddy now?
And Tobin responds that he's the dog. Travis instructs Tobin to stay put with the remains of Freddy, as they'll attempt to come to him, but the siblings say they've already tried that. Well, Travis doesn't care. He just wants Tobin to keep talking as they attempt to follow his voice. Travis actually pulls through and meets Tobin. Becky actually makes it, and so does Cal. You're Travis? The siblings want cohesive answers. They won't find that in the tall grass. Travis says he went looking for him because they didn't show up at San Diego. Cal says that's like impossible because it's only been 2 days. But Travis says they've been missing for more than 2 months.
2 months.
Becky feels like something's watching him, and she doesn't want to stay there, so they should keep moving. Travis gives Tobin a boost to look for anything, but all he finds is one building. They walk towards that direction, Tobin guiding him, and Travis says that Cal and Becky's parents are worried sick. Too bad Travis didn't call anybody before going into the tall grass, so this reminds Becky to check her phone. But the phone is corrupted and she feels tummy pain. She's fine though, as it was just a little kick and no need to worry about the baby coming out because it still has 3 months to go. Becky says she's gonna call the baby Jeannie and tells Travis she's lively, even letting him feel her belly, and he agrees.
Well.
Suddenly, a call comes through Cal's phone. It sounds like Becky herself, and she says not to let Cal hurt Travis. Becky on the other line sounds in pain. Then they keep moving.
One more reason to keep moving.
Someone is keeping a close eye on him. The gang trek through the tall grass, but soon, Becky's beginning to feel antsy as she's experiencing some more pain and really horrid hallucinations about the baby and some grass people. Travis, Cal, and Tobin come back for her, but then Ross comes in suddenly and gives her CPR. Becky wakes up to the land of the living, and Ross says the baby's also fine as he checked. Ross says they're gonna look for Natalie. Then they're all leaving, as he claims to have found a way out. Travis says they were headed for a building prior to this, so he gives Tobin one more boost, and the building's gone. Ross accepts the physics of this place, so he tries to lead him to a new way out.
I got the golden ticket for any takers.
Now, during this hike, Ross is singing to keep the spirits up. As night falls, he talks to Travis about the life they have outside. Ross talks about his musician days in comparison to Travis's current ones. Then they arrive. All roads lead to that alien acorn. Of course, nobody knows what it really is. And then Cal sees carvings on it. Ross thinks that it has been here since time itself, but Becky cuts him short to find the way out. Ironically, he thinks that the acorn actually shows the way out, so he touches it. They're kind of weirded out how Ross shills this thing, and then just as Cal was about to put his hand on it once again, Natalie comes out. She hugs Tobin, but is entirely hostile towards Ross. She says everything he said was a lie.
Stay away!
Then she gasps while looking at Becky. She's stuttering for a bit, but basically she saw Becky lifeless. Ross thinks she's just a little off, 'cause it's been days without food or water. Ross claims that they're all like family now.
We're like a family now.
Then Becky's tummy hurts once again. She sees a vision of grass people, and that Ross was looking sinister. Travis, Cal, and Becky want to go their own way, 'cause Ross is being weird, and then they invite Natalie and Tobin. Ross shills the acorn once again, persuading people to touch it. He thinks it's some sort of forgiveness artifact, but everyone is just more weirded out.
5 little fingers on its face.
Travis thinks Ross should let Natalie and Tobin go, but he's a bit riled up now, and the grass stops in place. Travis low-key threatens him, but he keeps talking about the acorn. He suddenly thinks it's all about him now.
Is that a threat?
Travis then tackles Ross and tells the rest to go, but Ross is quite the fighter. He grapples Travis, and what do you think he does? You think he kills him? No. He tries to sell that acorn like it was on eBay. And then Tobin runs for Becky and Cal, while Natalie's grappled by Ross. He tells Tobin not to worry, but this is the right time to worry, 'cause Ross flattens Natalie's head. Travis gets up and runs with the rest of the crew, while Ross is left there to call out that they can't run forever.
And all flesh is grass.
The gang encounters Freddy alive. Then they run after him. They all reach an abandoned bowling alley, and then they barricade the door behind him. They take a breath, chill out, and suddenly blame each other. Cal says there's no solution 'cause they're going in circles. Cal is totally against Travis 'cause he left Becky with a baby, but she thinks Cal is being too clingy. Travis actually accepts Cal's criticism, but blames him for having such a high standard for his little sister. Then Travis accuses Cal of Sweet Home Alabama crimes. They have a punch-out, but that's postponed because there's someone trying to get in.
Stop it!
They all climb up to the roof and lock them behind. According to Travis, the building is actually visible from the road. They peep on the other side, and yeah, this confirms it. Heck, they can even see the church from here. They see Freddy enter a small patch of grass, and just like that, he's gone. Travis tries to scope him out, and Freddy actually makes it to the road. Travis trips, but Cal's got him. Oops, butterfingers. Ooh, you're on thin ice, Cal, 'cause Tobin saw you. Tobin, Suddenly, Ross climbs up the roof. They all escape. But Becky worries about Travis, and Cal lies that he'll catch up. Becky keeps looking for Travis, but Cal wants him to forget about that greaser. This makes her realize that he did something to Travis. Did you do something? She runs from him. Then Ross catches up to Cal and calls him out on his insecurities as an older brother. Cal runs, but Ross is in hot pursuit. Ross catches up to him, 'cause he knows how this tall grass works. Cal turns and sees himself as a lifeless husk. Then Ross chokes him out. It turns out it's not the first time he got game-ended by Ross. Back at the bowling alley, Travis actually survives that fall thanks to some garbage. Then hears Becky faintly. He calls out to her, and Becky's writhing in pain. Travis then recalls what Cal did to him. Then he says he regrets everything he's done to Becky. He's glad she kept Jeannie. Becky then says she has a dirty little secret. She was gonna give up her baby to another family in San Diego. What? Travis is determined to keep that baby alive, and as they share a touching moment, something torments Becky and she screams audibly. It's Ross. He grapples Becky and she even tries to shank him with a key, but Ross is just too strong. He's asking to touch that acorn, lays her down and prepares to do something utterly horrible. But Becky pokes his eye out. She takes this time to crawl away. Then rain comes. Becky's struggling to walk away and she's starting to see visions of grass people. They surround her while they keep chanting, "The people have touched too much grass." and carried Becky away. Now, from the top, it looks like the grass itself is carrying her away. And then she wakes up back in front of that alien acorn. She calls out to Travis multiple times as she's in constant agony. Then she calls herself. That's the distorted call from earlier. Becky then feels more pain as the carvings on the acorn dictate her and the baby's fate. The grass people are surrounding her once again. Then the ground in front of her collapses, revealing a lot of trapped, tortured souls. The chanting begins once again, and Becky screams until the screen goes white. She wakes up, and she feels like she's looking for her baby. Cal is suddenly there, making her drink some water, and then he hands her the baby. So, the baby looks fine, and then Becky fades in and out of consciousness, while Cal tells her another dirty rhyme and feeds her something. He claims it's just grass and seeds, but you and I know where this is leading to. It's just grass. She suddenly tries to get her senses back, and she feels like it tastes familiar. Cal turns into Ross, and he says it tastes like her. Somewhere else in this green nightmare, Travis is still trying to look and call out to Becky, but he finds her near the acorn muttering "baby" repeatedly. Travis feels her belly and it seems like the baby's gone. Tobin's there to tell him that his daddy got rid of the baby. He says he also found Cal lifeless, and just like him, he's gonna keep hunting him over and over again. Travis has had enough and calls out Ross, but he's right behind you. He's only got one eye, but he still tries to end Travis. He takes that shank from the mud and stabs him.
Eyes are deceiving around here.
Next is Tobin, and he makes him touch it, but Becky takes another eye from him. She collapses and Travis fights Ross. He tries to choke him, but the chanting continues again. Ross succumbs and slips into the abyss, while Tobin watches. Travis then mourns Becky. And in his desperation, it leads him to try and touch the acorn. Despite Tobin's warnings, well, he touches it, and the whole field glows red. He turns around at Tobin, and he takes him by the hand.
Follow me.
As they run through those fields, he reaches a point where he gives Tobin the keys to the truck and warns him about him staying. But Becky and him don't belong here, so he instructs him to not let them in, and Tobin is warped to a wooden room. Tobin opens the door, and he's inside the church. It seemed like he traveled back in time too, because now we're back at the start of the movie. This time he warns the two siblings not to go in the grass.
Don't go in there! Stay away from it! Stay away!
Cal was about to go in, but Tobin gives the key to Travis, and she recognizes it. Becky makes the right call, and they take Tobin in, and she changes her mind about giving up that baby. They drive off, and inside the tall grass, Travis breathes some relief as he finally succumbs to the abyss. That's a wrap on our character's journey. Let me know what you think in the comments and drop your suggestions for the next movie we should chat about. Stay awesome and don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. See you on the flip side of movie magic.